John Cena, he announced that this will be his last run
Yes.
at Money in the Bank last month. Well, this month, I'll say, early July. Um, he's gonna come back and do probably some matches here or there between now and WrestleMania, but definitely this WrestleMania will be his last WrestleMania ever. I guess two things here. We'll talk about his legacy number one for you, and how should the company book him this last stretch run here for him?
His legacy for me, it's funny. I missed most of his because I started watching again in 2012.
Right.
So I missed like a lot of his run as the top guy in the company. Um, I think, I mean, his legacy is, I mean, I think he had the longest uninterrupted run at the top. I think because he
Since
won,
Hogan.
he won his first world title in 2005, and then he didn't become a part-time guy until 2017. I mean,
That's
that's
Hoganish.
yeah, that's longer, and because
Yeah, longer. Yep.
yeah, that first, because Hogan, that first run of Hulkamania went from like 84 to like 92, 93.
Right.
So, now, of course, that was also with Cena. There was also a period of time where there was a very vocal opposition amongst the fan base to what was going on, what they were
Mhm.
being presented.
Yeah.
Um, I don't put that on him, um, but I mean, you kind of have to factor that in, and that they were definitely, and there were some stretches here or there where business kind of dropped. Again, I don't put that on him. I think I don't know. Well, just with a lot of fandoms, even not even there are people who just don't want to accept that. Okay, you started watching this when you were a kid.
Hmm.
You were the target audience. Now you're 30. You're not the target audience anymore.
Yeah.
So if you're going to keep watching this stuff, you got to be willing to accept that you're not that they're not you're not the target audience. Yeah, yes, they want you to come spend your money,
Yeah.
but they're not writing the show for you when you're 35. Okay. And if you're going to stick with whether it's because we see this with Star Wars fans, we see this with some of the MCU fans, and there's a whole lot of different things, right? There's just this. Okay, I started watching it when I was 8 years old or 12 years old, and they and it was the greatest thing ever, blah blah blah. And now I'm still watching it when I'm 35, but they're still writing it for 12-year-olds. You gotta,
Come to terms with something
it,
here.
it is what it is, man. I mean, because like George Lucas said point blank about Star Wars, like it's a morality play for 12-year-olds, right? And there are people who, you know, can't can't accept that.
Yeah.
The people who
It's so
don't
true.
accept that.
It's so
And look,
true.
it doesn't have to be, totally cartoonish, 80s Hulkamania, but you know, it's not going to be ECW either. And there are people who want it to be ECW. There are people who want it to be Attitude Era, WWE. And that was a short period of time. And, that company has been around since the 1950s.
Hmm.
Um, the Attitude Era was from 98 to like 2002, depending
Yeah.
on, the most generous, well, at least the most generous measurement of it would say like 97 to 2002. That's 5 years. Okay. Out of 70 some year history. And that was a kind of perfect storm in, window in time. And that was not, obviously wasn't sustainable because the ECW wasn't sustainable, right? Um, and that we got to experience that era. Okay, cool. It was great for what it was. Um, but that was never going to be what it was going to be in perpetuity. And so a lot of the people took out their frustration on Cena, basically.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but that's not his fault. So
And he still survived it all. It's probably that.
yeah, and he did.
It,
And
mhm.
they were
Mhm.
go ahead. And look, they were right to never turn him heel. He shouldn't have been turned. No, they should not turn him heel.
In
Um,
hindsight, you're right about that. In hindsight,
yeah,
you're right about that. I think the polarization of him actually made him even more interesting.
Yeah.
It only elevated him in his legacy. I know we discussed this in the past, on numerous podcasts about Mount Rushmores and top fives and all this stuff. As we sit here right now, July 31st, 2024, is John Cena Mount Rushmore WWE guy?
Um, as always, it depends on when you start the clock, right?
Yeah,
If and also it's also complicated because Rock and Austin were at the same time. That always complicates things.
yeah.
Because if you're
But I
talking,
think we when we discussed that back in during WrestleMania season, you and us three, you mean you and Duke, we differentiated that the Rock, you know, while we can use the whole Rock Austin marriage thing as that may hurt the Rock, at the end of the day, the Rock doing what he's done post that era and the relevancy he's had, so past that era, and him coming back every so often, and him coming back and carving his own lane, especially what he did this year with the final boss character, I think elevated that. I think he's been enough time and enough things have happened to say, yeah, while Austin gets credit for that era and elevating the Rock in a lot of ways, the Rock's done enough also to separate himself from Austin too now at this point.
yeah, I agree. And so, okay, if we're just going to count from when Vincent Kennedy McMahon took over, because the number
Hogan's there definitely.
Hogan, then I would say Hogan, Cena, Rock, Austin for now. And I think Roman is right
He's in
next.
waiting. He's in waiting.
And yeah, so I think Roman is next, and depending on, and Roman could get into he could get in, he could break through.
Yeah,
Depending on how much longer he wrestles and all that. I mean, so Roman had the longest title reign since Hogan.
yeah.
Um, so but right now, I mean, well, we can't really judge Roman until he's either finished or until he becomes exclusively a guy who only comes around every now and then.
I think this return, whenever it comes back, whether it's this weekend or the next couple months, will actually go a long way of making that conversation even more palatable for him.
Yeah, because you got to look at it. He's got 9 WrestleMania main events.
Yeah,
That's more than anybody. Um, so and he's been even and of course, and again, he's polarizing like Cena for a lot of the same reasons. Uh, but his run is basically the top guy in the company started, you know, 2016. Like when they fully installed him in that spot was 2016.
right. See,
And
what saves Austin in the conversation right now is that even though he's had the shortest run of the bunch of the guys we've said, he is still height of powers, the most popular guy. Height of powers. Like who had the biggest, highest popularity Q rating up between Hogan, Cena, Austin, and Rock? By far is Austin.
yeah,
Austin to this day still gets the biggest pop when he comes out.
yeah,
And that's what saves him more than anything else.
because
Otherwise, if he didn't have that, he may not even be in Mount Rushmore.
yeah, yeah, because he has, unfortunately, he had such a short run
Yeah,
because of injuries, and it wasn't again not his fault. Um, so for right now, I'd say that like I said, Roman is right there. Um, so but right now, yeah, I would for the era of Vincent Kennedy McMahon owning and being in charge, I would say yes. Now, if we're going to go all the way to the very beginning, then you got to have Bruno on there. Um,
yeah.
because and I've been working on a little project of my own, trying to formulate my own top 50. Because based on 'cause remember was that Bleacher Report that did that top 50 we talked about,
Yeah,
and
remember that.
well, I mean it's hard really, but because with Bruno you got to look at it like this. If there had been a WrestleMania during his career, he would have main evented pretty much he would have main evented every year he was champ.
Hmm.
And when you add all that up, that's like 11 main events, WrestleMania main events. He would have main evented, if they had monthly pay-per-views when he was champion, he would have main evented all of those, right? So when you look at it like that, I mean, he would have blown everyone out of the water.
Yeah,
Um, so to me, if you're going to look at, I mean, you got to kind of I mean, if you're going to try to, measure him against other people, then you have to find some way to. I mean, you have to basically prorate that. Like, what would it have been like his career? Again, had there been a WrestleMania, had there been monthly pay-per-views, like, but as it was, I mean, he made him into damn near every show he was on for his whole career.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so you'd have to put him there, and
No. Right.
look, without him, none of this. I mean, we don't even get to Hulkamania without him in his initial run, putting the company on the map.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. How do you quickly book Cena's next 6 months, 6 to 8 months?
Okay, all right, so WrestleMania has got to be Randy Orton. They never had a WrestleMania
I agree,
match.
100%, 100%.
That's that's you got to do that. That's and then
And,
um
and that's how you turn Orton heel between now and then.
yeah, well, that by that point, because I mean, everyone's expecting Orton to turn on Cody.
Yeah.
So by that point, he may already be.
Yeah.
Um, so that's you got to do that. Um, and for me, other than that, to me, you just man, play it like line up whoever's still there that he's got some history with. Just play the hits.
Yeah.
I mean, Punk is there. He and Kevin Owens feuded at one time. Run that back. Run back AJ Styles.
Hmm.
Um, let me see. Well,
Are there
I
any matches in there that he hasn't done that he could do between now and then? Any matchups that you see that
well, I think
he?
he needs to get back at Austin Theory.
Yeah,
That
that's another
that
one.
was that was a disgrace.
Yeah, we discussed it last year in the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. He needs. I'd have him get back in solo. Because I mean, why not? Um. So I'll just maybe play the hits, man.
Yeah. It's only one
And
anyway. Yeah.
I'm not one of those people because I know I've heard some people say, "Wait, he needs to put people over." No, he already put people over. He put some people over. He put Austin Theory over. He doesn't need to put anybody else over.
Right.
Uh, and at this point, I'm not of that line of thinking that you know that legends need to be putting everybody over on their way out the door. Um, I think what AEW did with Sting exactly what you should was exactly what they should have done.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he didn't lose any matches and he should have. Why? Nobody wants to see him lose.
Right.
Um, right. I mean, we're past the point in Cena's career where people want to see him lose. So you're not getting anything out of that.
Yeah.
Um,
He's on
so
top. Everything on top. Yep. I totally
play the
agree with that.
hits. He should win. Whoever his last opponent is, he should win, and he should go. Look, the Undertaker won his last match, right? It's okay. It's fine. You don't have to lose your last match. You don't. Okay. You don't owe it to all these people to take a bunch of L's on your way out the door.
Yeah.
At least I don't think that way anyway. I mean,